In this video,
We're going to talk about the top 5 things that frustrates us.
living in the Philippines.
Stay tuned. So before we get into the top 5 things that frustrates us, we want to talk about why we're doing this video. So we're doing this video because there is a culture shock
Yes, there is.
for anyone moving from a first world country to a developing country. It's just the way it is. You need to have patience and just realize that things are done differently, and you as one foreigner really have no control over how things are. So I think it's important if you're thinking about visiting, vacationing, moving to the Philippines, just realize that there is going to be some challenges. The good things far outweigh the challenges, for sure. I mean, we live in a tropical island. It's summer all year round. We live next to an ocean. Cost of living is very cheap. I mean, there's very, very good things, but it's also good to be aware of some of the challenges.
Yes, you need to have the patience and patience and patience.
Yes, patience, patience, patience.
And go with the flow.
So let's get into our top 5. So our number 5 is out of stock, sir.
Always so. It's nothing new.
So if you think about it, the Philippines is 7,000 islands. So to keep well stocked with that many islands, so obviously there's not people living on all 7,000 islands, but there's thousands of islands that has to have some form of logistics to get products back and forth,
Yeah.
and to continue to be in stock. So that is a challenge, guys. And again, it's something that hopefully will improve over time, but it is frustrating. It's not like you come up with an idea and say, hey, I need XYZ item, and I just run down to the store and get it. Very often they're out of stock. And it's something you just have to deal with.
Yeah, so that's why when you see things that you normally buy or stock, make sure buy enough, because you're not gonna see it again. You might not see it again for the next few months.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, when we go to a store, especially a grocery store, and we see something that we normally buy, you know, and you probably go shopping once a week, maybe twice a week, once a month sometimes. And, you know, back in your home country, you may buy, say, 2 of them. Well, don't do that here. If you see something that you like, buy lots.
Yes,
Because
we learned that.
We learned it the hard way,
Yes.
without question. We go back and say, hey, you know, let's get that item, and it's out of stock. And then it may be, like Wilma said, months before it comes back in stock. And then you also have to have patience, because if it's something you really need,
Yes.
say it was something for the house here, something from like a hardware store. You go to a hardware store and it's out of stock, and then you go to the next 3 and they're out of stock. And then you end up, you know, basically spending the entire day
looking for that
item, and then you may not find it, or you do find it, and then, you know, by the time you get back to the work site, you know, the day is over. So things like that does happen. You have to be ready for that. So our number 5 is out of stock.
Sir.
Okay, our number 4 is a little bit like number 5, but with a twist. You know, everybody knows that Wilma likes to cook. So our number 4 is finding plentiful ingredients for the food that you like to eat on a regular basis.
Western food.
Western
especially.
style food, yeah.
Yes.
So again, if you see it, buy it, but there's just a lot of stores here that we visited and they just don't stock the item. I'll give you an example. I like a hot dog once in a while. Most people do. So I like mustard. on my hot dog. 11-month search on the island of Leyte.
Yeah.
It does not exist on the entire island. And you have some pretty nice grocery stores on that island. Now, do they have it? They may. I just never found it. Every time we visit a grocery store, I'd always check for mustard. Does not happen. Now we're here in Negros Oriental. There's foreigners everywhere. Oh, geez, there's got to be plenty of mustard.
Yes.
We went to all the popular grocery stores, Robinson and as such. Doesn't exist. Now, luckily, there is a specialty store called Belchris in Dumaguete City, and they actually is well stocked.
Yes.
But you're going to pay up. You're probably
Yeah.
going to pay double what you pay in your home country. But it doesn't matter. I pay quadruple because it's hard to eat a hot dog without delicious mustard. So definitely number 4 is finding ingredients if you like to cook. All right, so our number 3, here's a big one. Call it Filipino time.
Philippine times.
Being late. It's something that Wilma and I are just not used to. I think a lot of people coming from a first world country is not used to this, but it may be even worse for us.
Yeah.
That's why it made our number 3 on our top 5. Very frustrating. You go to meet up with somebody, and let's just say it has something to do with business, and you say, you have an appointment at 10 o'clock. And the person just doesn't show, doesn't call, or if they do call, they say they're running late. Late to me means 5 minutes, late to them means 2 hours. And it's really no respect for your time.
No.
Very, very frustrating.
And they're just like when they come, they finally showed up and they're just with a big smile. No,
No big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to us, it's like from a business world, like what we did in the US, like, we always teach our kids to always show up 15 minutes before.
Right.
To
Yeah.
do your, whatever it is, to do your job, interview, appointment, always show up early.
Yeah.
Here, it's like late is
Okay.
1 hour late, it's okay.
Yeah. And we notice that even in like doctor's offices, you'll have a 9 a.m. appointment, and you get there and they say, oh no, the doctor don't show up to 10 o'clock.
Or to 12 o'clock.
And you're,
happen a lot.
yeah, and you're like, you're kidding me? I got to wait an hour.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, the appointments are really not singular. What I mean by that, 9, 9:15, 9:30. You'll talk to 10 people around you. They're all 9 o'clock. So there could be a dozen people there, and it goes by when you signed in. You could be number 12 because you got there at 9:03,
Yeah.
and the doctor shows up at 10. You're not going to be seen probably to noon, 1 o'clock. Oh, guess what?
They take lunch.
It's noontime. It's lunchtime, and here many stores close from 12 to 1.
Yes, just remember that.
They may have 12 employees, and you say, well, if you got 2 cash registers running, why don't you send 2 to lunch now? When they come back, the next 2 can go, and you got a couple salespeople. Have one salesperson work from 11:30 to 12:30, and the other one goes 12:30 to 1:30. That's not the Philippines.
No.
Most companies shut down completely, meaning they lock their doors between 12 noon and 1 p.m. So our number 3 is being late. All right, our number 2 is the way people drive in the Philippines and just the accepted rules or no rules here on the highway. First thing, in the Dumaguete area, now in Cebu it was a little different, Manila was a little different, but the vast majority of the Philippines, there's no red lights, there's no stop signs. So it's basically when you enter an intersection, and Dumaguete, for example, is a small city, but there's 100,000 people that live there. So it gets busy with scooters, with cars, with trucks, with delivery trucks, tractor trailers, buses. So there's all kinds of different sizes of vehicles, and it's really first come, first serve. It's dipping and diving. You happen to stop because you're at an intersection and 30 scooters go by you, and then they're all within 18 inches of your vehicle. They're along the side of you. People pass on the right all the time. A lot of the roads here, and it's something that, the rules that I understand in the US is totally different here. A lot of the roads are 4 lanes, 2 going one way, 2 going the other. Well, everybody drives what I call the fast lane. The inside lane is where 90% of the traffic is. Almost nobody drives in the right lane in either direction because that's the parking area. So many people that maybe they live on that highway, they'll just park their car and just go in and just go to sleep for the night. Leave their vehicle parked right on the highway for multiple hours. There's a lot of businesses close to the road. So if you're pulling over to get fruits or vegetables or whatever you need, people use the highway to park and they just put on their 4-way flashers. So if you're driving in the right-hand lane down the road, at some point you're going to have to stop and go around the person who parked, who could be there for hours and hours. So the rules are very different. What bothers me as I drive, because I try to be careful, is obviously people are coming this way, but they'll also be driving on the wrong side of the road at the same time. So they're taking up the right lane, plus you have to worry about your oncoming traffic. It's just something you have to get used to. Same thing with coming out of a side road. Since there's no stop signs and everybody thinks that right lane is really not a lane, they'll come out of that side street, not even look at all, and just go right into the right lane because they're going to assume there's nobody using it anyway. So if you happen to be in the right lane and you have the right of way because you're on the national highway, there'll be a scooter just coming right out and they don't even look. They just pull right out in front of you and you're expected to stop. Something that really bothered me when I first moved here, now I get it. If you're coming out of a small road onto the national highway and you're going to take a right-hand turn, so you're going to go with the traffic, typically you would stop. You would maybe glance to the right just to see if there's anybody there, but there should be no traffic coming that way. You really concentrate on the left because you need to, now you're at a stop and pull out and go onto the highway. Well, I've done that all my life. Well, I almost ran 20 people over on a scooter because they're driving down the wrong way. So when you pull out to the right, you're going to head on with them. Even though there should be nobody coming down that way, there always is. So now you have to really have your head on a swivel because it's very, very difficult. Wilma had her own car for years. She doesn't want to drive in the Philippines anymore. I have to make her drive my truck because you're afraid to hit somebody.
Yeah, because especially at night times, they don't have their headlight on.
Yeah.
And they don't have, a lot of scooters don't have a tail light.
Right.
So you can't see them.
Yeah.
I'm afraid to drive here. I've been driving for last 30 years,
Yeah.
And over here, I'm just afraid to drive.
Yeah, that's a good point. So many people here drive at night with no headlight on, and naive Greg said, maybe they just can't afford a headlight. No, that's not the case. Their headlight works fantastic. They have it turned off because they want to save gas.
They think they save the gas.
They think turning on their headlight is going to use more gas and they want to save gas, so they turn their headlights off and just drive around at night in the dark. And again, when we go out at night and I'm driving my truck coming up the mountain, it's dark anyway, and then you'll be going up the mountain nice and slow, and then all of a sudden someone turns on their headlight and they're 100 feet from you. And if you're driving a truck on a small road, you think no one's on the truck, you got your headlights on, you kind of move towards the middle a little bit just because there's nobody else on the highway. but you could go head on with somebody because they're coming down with no lights on. Absolutely amazing. And what I also noticed, that people that don't have an actual bulb, they use their cell phone light. So just imagine going down the highway on a motorcycle with an oncoming truck coming at you, and your only light is the light on your cell phone, and they're holding it up while they're driving. So you just got to be so careful. Okay, last but certainly not least, our number one thing that frustrates us. I wonder if you guys can guess what it is. It's brownouts as well as the internet going out. To me, it is so extremely frustrating, and it's just the Filipino electric grid. Some areas of the Philippines are better, but here in Negros Oriental, we probably get one brownout a week. I would say that's the average, but there has been times when storms come through, like a low pressure, or if we're on the tail end of a typhoon. Not too long ago, I think we had a 7-day stretch where I think we had 9 brownouts in 7 days. So frustrating. Especially that, Wilma and I are up early, we're out doing things, we go out and do our shopping, we come home, we're always doing projects in the garden, we're doing this, we're doing that. We spend all day outside, we come in at night, we cook dinner, sit down, relax, we're getting ready to click on Netflix, getting ready to watch a great show, a series that we're all involved in. We're in season 2, can't wait to get to season 3. And we sit back, the recliner goes out, and poof, the electricity goes out. Extremely frustrating.
Yes.
So it is what it is. We have a generator. It works great, but I only use it during the day. I don't turn it on after 8 p.m. just because of our neighbors. That's just who I am. So that is really a big reason why we want solar.
Yes.
Not to save the electricity bill, which that's an added benefit, but it's not to have brownouts. So if you guys are thinking about visiting the Philippines for an extended amount of time, as well as possibly moving here, you have to be ready for these top 5 things that frustrates us. So appreciate you watching our video, and talk to you guys soon.